brew day. It's been a long time coming. We're brewing the Mango Lassi IPA version 2. I want to get a hoppy beer and I've been wanting to rebrew this for a while. So what we're doing things a little bit differently. We're brewing the Mango Lassi IPA version 2. I've made a couple of substitutions, and before I go on, I have to thank Gabby from Gladfield. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just think they do really good work. I contacted them directly asking, because this recipe had 500 grams of lactose, 500 grams of maltodextrin, and I wanted to try and reduce the amount of powder additives and substitute it for grain. So I said, you know, that they have this malt called Gladiator malt, which is a dextrin malt, non-fermentable. And I asked the question, you know, how much Gladiator malt would I need to use to substitute for 500 grams of maltodextrin? And they came back to me a day or two later, and they suggested 500 grams of Gladiator malt will roughly be equivalent to 500 grams of maltodextrin. So that's what I'm trying now. I didn't quite have 500 grams of lactose, so I'm using 420 grams of lactose and put an extra 80 grams of the Gladiator malt in instead. Also going to do a 30-minute mash, 30-minute boil, and I've wet conditioned my grains. They've been sitting there for about 15 minutes while I just do the water chemistry in the DigiBoil. Review, I know I said it's been coming soon, but I just haven't had time. And I'm going to actually try something maybe time efficient, maybe stupid. I'm going to mill directly into the grain basket, then fill the water after that, because I don't want to have steam coming up under the malt, and then just lower the basket in. So let's make it happen. The moment of truth. This is when becomes obvious that this is either a time-saving thing or a stupid idea. Just going to lower it in. I've done this once before. I'm not pushing it down, it's just falling down by itself. Okay. So now the grain is moving up a bit. I don't know if that means the bottom plate's moved up, but the top thing that stops the grain going down, that hasn't moved, so I'm guessing it's just the grain being pushed up. And I'll let that sort of go for a little bit and give it a little poke. You can see that we can't see any water through here just yet. We'll catch up. Is that it there? Yep, you can see the water just coming through there. So keep giving it a gentle stir around, and then once, hopefully, I don't get, it's not looking promising. See if we can maybe pump some water on the top. Off. So digging down deep. It's actually feeling not sticky at all. I have found that doing wet conditioning doesn't gum up as much because you get less powder. But you know, stirring right down the bottom here, it's feeling pretty good. Making sure just wet everything. I finally bought myself a more reasonable sized spoon or paddle, which is awesome. Loving it. Yeah, it's feeling really good actually. A bit worried there for a minute. Don't know that I'd try to do this without wet conditioning the grain. We're sitting bang on 68 degrees. Top screen going on, overflow pipe out, and put this in. And so I'm just going to turn the pump on and gently open the flow. We should get good flow through the grain bed. I'm not going to open it up all the way. Just gonna let that flow through. Try not to compact it too much. So we're approaching mash out temperature. We're at 73 now. After 30 minutes mashing, I did an iodine test. You can see the white saucer there, and it was all good. No black spots in the wort, so I know that we're fully converted. The mash was nice and clear. It's just stirred up a bit because I had to stop the pump and restart. So we're just coming up to mash out, and yeah, we're almost onto the boil. It's 11:30. I started at 9:30. Turned the water on at 9:30. So we're about 2 hours into the brew day. So yeah, we're making good time. We're making good time. So we've finished the mash and the mash out. So it's now time to sparge. Let's see if the wet conditioning is going to increase our or decrease our sparge time. Pump off. Lovely clear wort in here. I'll give you a look. Here forward. Yeah, you can see lovely clear wort there. Get the tools. You can hear how fast that's running away now. Sure it's all on. Yep. Quick fix again. Put this up here. Put this around in here. There we go. Sparging away. Crank it up to boil temps while we're doing this. Yeah, you can see how quickly that's sparging. That's flat out and hasn't caught up yet. You can hear how quickly it's running through. You know, speed is one thing, but it's all about, you know, do we have any drop in efficiency? My experience is no. Yeah, that's full ball. Oops, kick the tripod. And we've got about 6-7 litres left. Another 3 litres or so. And that's the end of the sparge water. How long's that? I'm going to clip 4 minutes. That's still a bit more. Still a bit more. 4 minute sparge. Pretty happy with that. There we go, a bit more coming out. So, roughly 4.5 minute sparge. I can't believe it. It's so awesome. So, what were we aiming for? Pre-boil volume of 26.5 with a estimated pre-boil gravity of 1055. So I've just calibrated my refractometer. I'm just going to wait for this. You can still hear the little bits, last little drips coming out. I'll have a little quick peek of where we're sitting volume wise. 29, 28, 27, 26, about 25.5. What did I say? So we're a little down on volume at the moment. We might get that extra litre back. Well, we'll see how we are with gravity anyway. Got these 2 yeasts. I made 2 starters of the Kveik yeast. So this one I did in a Tupperware container just inside at air temperature. This one I did in the Erlenmeyer flask on a stir plate. I was a little bit worried about this one because my stir bar got stuck to the bottom and wouldn't stir properly. So I had to put another stir bar in. So I was worried that I'd get some off flavours. I don't think this one's fully attenuated out because it was just out here in the brewery, so it was fine during the day, but it would have dropped down quite cold. This one was inside. It wouldn't have got so cold inside. Definitely tastes thinner, not as sweet, but it's got this weird slightly tart and sour. So I think I'm just going to go with this guy, even though this was the one I was worried about. I'm going to hold off on this one, and of course I am going to top crop this batch just before I do the first dry hop. because I want to get some dry yeast for my bank, and also I owe a couple of people some of this yeast as well. So let's get on to it. So yeah, the level here, 29, 28, 27, just over 26. And you can see we're coming up to the hot break here. Got some proteins on the top. Got a little bit more room to play with, so I'm not going to worry about too much about a boil over, but I always do stir in the proteins. Let that cool down. It won't take very long, but yeah, it's about 12 degrees out here at the moment. Should really cool down your whole sample. So we've hit 12 bricks. 12 bricks. What's that on SG? We're down quite a bit. It's a bit of a worry. Oh, it might have been including the lactose. That could be what's going on. Alright, we'll carry on as normal then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, brew day's done, just clean up to go. We're aiming for 10, what are we aiming for? I can't remember. Nothing like being prepared, right? 1064. We haven't got that. We have 1054. We do have a kilo of mango to go yet. So I'm not too worried, and you know, if this beer ends up being 5%, 6% instead of 6 to 7%, that's probably actually a good thing. Pretty smooth brew day. It has been a while since I've been on the brew day horse. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't drop the Whirlpool addition down to 78 degrees, so that was just at the normal temp. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit more bitter than it was, but you know, it is what it is, and this beer is not a bitter beer anyway, so it does have a fruity note. I am getting more of that herbal hop vegetal smell than I remember. And obviously with the lack of maltodextrin in exchange for gladiator malt, there's less of that sort of sweetness up front. But I'm hoping that post fermentation it'll turn out very similar. Let's go for a taste. Cheers. Yeah, it is more bitter. Not overly bitter though. And I didn't use a Werflock on this. I figure adding in fruit, it's not really going to be a clear beer anyway. Yeah, the mouthfeel is different from what I remember. It doesn't have that full-on orange juice mouthfeel, which for the drinkability of the beer, it's probably not a bad thing either. It's got a big dry hop of Azaka, Mosaic and Nelson Sauvignon, and the mango to come, so cheers. I'll be interested to see how this version turns out. Alright guys, Mango Lassi IPA. How's this look? Looks maybe a little bit darker on camera, but it is a murky beer, as you can see. It's, what date is it today? I think it's the 10th of September. I'll put it how many days it is. It's probably a couple of weeks in the keg now, so It has died off a little bit, but still plenty of mango in there, and that sort of pungent mosaic, pineapple, tropical fruit. Smells very nice. But how has the modified grain bill affected this beer? Let's have a taste. Now, as you saw, I didn't drop the whirlpool temperature down to 80 degrees like I did with the initial one, and how the recipe says. I forgot. So this beer is a little bit more bitter than the original. Not to say that it's overly bitter. It's more in line with like a tropical fruited IPA bitterness, and it's a very pleasant drink. It also doesn't have the mouthfeel that the maltodextrin added. Now, it does have a sweet finish, but I was just listening to experimental brewing. No, it was the Brew Files from the same guys. Episode about a brewery in Long Beach, I'm pretty sure. I'll put a link to the podcast down below. They've been experimenting with Kveik yeast in their brew house. I can't remember the exact strain. But anyway, they were talking about how the Kveik yeast is kind of a hybrid between pickling yeast found in Asia somewhere and English ale yeast, or definitely ale yeast. So, and the brewer there was talking about how they have to combat rapid drops in pH with their Kveik beers, and they combat that with maltodextrin to add, because the acidity makes the beers thinner, and that's probably what I'm perceiving here. Could be the power of suggestion though as well. But yeah, still a very nice beer. And in terms of the drinkability of the beer, I found the previous one, it was a super nice beer, and everyone who tried it was like, oh man, this is amazing. But come, your third drink, it was a pretty full-on beer, and even this is quite full-on. Still got the lactose in there. But it's a different take. I would say the Gladiator malt, to some degree, still allows that sweetness to come through, but the body is not the same as the maltodextrin. Or at least my memory, separated by almost 12 months of the beer. It's not quite the same. But anyway, very nice beer, and I should really take the pH of this, but I think it's a little too far gone. Next time I use Kveik yeast, I'm very interested to take pH throughout the fermentation process to see how it compares. Because I take pH as part of my brew day, mainly around the mash. I don't usually take into the fermenter or post fermenter pH results, but it would be interesting to do that. Just more calibrating and more, but I need to get my pH meter sorted. Anyway, I was going to put a video up. I think it's almost edited. I just haven't put it up yet. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling on. This has been the grain to glass video of the Mango Lassi IPA with a couple of tweaks and mistakes. It's not an exact, it's come out as a decent beer, but I think if I brewed it again, I'd make a few more tweaks or just go back to the original recipe. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So anyway, thanks for sticking around if you're still here. This has been Stass with another video. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.